Hi, Kelly. Your assignment 2 looks good. Everything checks out okay with the color picker, except I'd say maybe the area of red over could be slightly more transparent. Assignment 3, transparency looks good. I note improvements there. Depth has been improved too. Um, Middle of the right edge there's one gray-green square that could be overlapped by the more saturated square for increased illusion of depth in vibration. Your colors are nearly the same value, and while I think magenta belongs to the uh, warm array of colors, it is cooler than red. Okay, here's Sarita's work. Now, assignment 2 looks quite good. However, outside of areas of overlap, the verticals should have same RGB values. The way to achieve that, if you're using layering in Photoshop, is to place an additional layer of opaque color behind each of the verticals and behind the horizontal bar. Now, transparency looks very good. Only thing here is that I'd suggest putting the title in a margin. Okay, Yolanda, with this one, you are on the right track. However, I wish you got back to this and revised it. The goal here is to have different colors for areas of overlap, each one suggesting a degree of transparency, with that degree changing from left to right. Well, here's Nicole's work. Nicole, everything checks out okay with your assignment 2, color picker wise. I'm wondering about the interval though, and whether um, it could be greater between the two left vertical bars. Transparency looks okay. I think the effect would be greater without stroke, however. Depth looks okay too. Right idea there. However, you didn't use squares or rectangles. And then finally we have vibration. Looks pretty good. I like this design idea best of all. Carmela, things look good here. Assignment 2 seems just right. Everything checks out okay with the color picker, and the interval is quite nice. Transparency looks good. Depth too. Vibration is a nice solution. There is some difference in value between the two colors, but I will agree that's a hard thing to juggle. Hi, Crystal. Everything checks out okay with your assignment 2. And the interval looks very nice too. I was wondering about resolution there. The image quality is a little fuzzy. Well, with regard to transparency, I think that's okay. However, with a horizontal bar, it seems as though there are two different greens, a light green and a dark green, because we see a sudden jump sort of midway across. And if you wanted to do that, I might suggest that you have them not line up neatly. In other words, have two horizontal bars, because then it's easier for us to appreciate the difference in color. With regard to your depth, I think that's a lovely solution, and I enjoy those colors. I like the simplicity. Vibration is okay. The values are not same, however. All right, Michelle. Well, your assignment 2 is looking pretty good. I think you have the idea. Some technical problems though. RGB values are not all matching where they should. Visually things look okay, but when I inspect with a color picker, we should have more accuracy. Also, it looks like your template is breaking down. If you did use the template, you can always just take the same colors and plug them into a new fresh copy of the template. Transparency is looking quite nice. The image on the left is the one that seems to meet the assignment. With depth, there are competing ideas here. Remember that both light and saturated colors advance, so it's hard for us to know what you intend to come forward or send backward. Vibration, this is a nice color set. Values are not same, however, I'll grant you that's a hard thing to manage. Hi, Craig. I note that you're great in terms of posting drafts and so on. Thanks for that. Assignment 2 this week looks good. Everything checks out as being technically correct. If anything is wanting, maybe just a little more drama, greater interval, although the interval does seem even here. Next, transparency is probably my favorite of your works this week. What a lovely idea, and I do like the way this pattern is contained. In other words, the squares on the periphery do not show a second overlapping area. It really makes a nice design. Now, with depth, I think I tried to point out that you've got an issue with competing traits. The light areas and the saturated areas both want to advance. Vibration is good. One additional goal we were looking for was same values, which is a little hard to juggle. Hi, Kathy. I'm really liking this solution to assignment 2. Beautiful colors. Your work is accurate, and also the interval is nice. There's a sense of drama between the different areas of overlap. Transparency is looking very nice. Thank you for attending to the business of neatening up that file. With depth, you have a great solution here. Perhaps one could want more color because this is very neutral, but I note it is not straight gray. I'm looking to see whether the two halves are precisely symmetrical, and I'm wondering whether the center rectangles are exactly same size. That might be something to check out. You could probably even do a copy and paste from one half to the other to make sure they were symmetrical, for instance, for your portfolio. And vibration is pretty interesting. I notice all those colors are fully saturated. This feels like fruit stripes. Generally, vibration is greater when you have just a couple of colors because they play against each other in terms of warm and cool, and same value can be something that's more achievable with that limited palette. Hi, Israel, looking at assignment 2. Well, this is a very interesting solution. I note that you made your work from scratch. All of your colors in areas outside of areas of overlap check out okay with the color picker. And this has a strange quality of neon or glow in the dark. Perhaps these are not the colors we'd expect to see precisely, but they are quite beautiful, and there's a quality of this being okay. Maybe spacing could be worked on if you intend to include this in your portfolio, for example. Transparency looks okay. Depth looks good too. However, you've used some trapezoids in there. With vibration, I like the way that you've made this solution complex. One thing to note is that in the sample given, all of the colors are fully saturated, even while there's a gradation. So it's actually a gradation of saturated hues, and we get the most vibration when hues are fully saturated. Hi, Jacindia. Your assignment 2 looks good. Everything that's meant to match does. I was wondering whether the area of green over purple might be just a little bit light. However, I think this is pretty good on the whole. Now, with depth, well, the light areas do seem to advance. Lightest of all are the empty areas, by the way, so those are kind of popping forward. One other thing you can do with depth is make sure that the overlapping of shapes supports the illusion that you're trying to create with color. In other words, the lighter shapes could be overlapping the darker ones, and thereby you could have an increased illusion.